Welcome again to Joe Stonner Boxing. Let's talk about the word quit, because we've been hearing a lot about this, haven't we, since the Usyk-Dubois rematch. A lot of people saying that they thought Dubois quit. In my opinion, I think he probably did. But of course, first of all, we have to define what is meant by quitting. What is the definition of it? Now, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as to cease normal, expected, or necessary action. Okay, different dictionaries, different sources have different definitions. For example, the Oxford Dictionary, English Dictionary, says to stop doing something or leave a job or place. Okay, I preferred the Merriam-Webster definition. I thought that was quite a good one. And then I also went to the Collins Dictionary, which is another reputable source, and they defined it as to quit your job if you choose to leave it. Okay, to leave, to retire, to pull out of. Okay. Now, I think, for me, I'll give you my definition if you see if you agree with it. To me, if you are capable of doing something, no matter how arduous, painful it may be, and you decide not to, you have quit. Okay? As was mentioned just then, you can quit a job. Lots of us quit jobs. You might get a better job. You may just decide, I don't really want to do this anymore. So you quit whatever. You quit a hobby, for example. But in boxing, it's considered a cardinal sin for reasons we'll get into. So, again, quitting is when you are capable of doing something, but you choose not to do it because it's too arduous, you just don't want to do it anymore, whatever the reason. But you could do it if you decided you wanted to, or if you maybe didn't want to do it, but you felt, I should do this, but I'm not going to. I probably should, but I'm not interested anymore. Okay, so that's how I think we would define the word. Okay, now I'm not going to go into whether Daniel Dubois quit again or the hows and the whys, but let's talk about reasons for quitting. You may disagree. I think Dubois did quit on Saturday in the rematch against Usyk. I think he probably, he could have gotten up. He was compos mentis. He got up. His legs seemed steady. He walked to his corner. He could have mistimed the count. That's certainly possible. He could have been looking over to his corner to tell him to get up, and they told him too late. There's a number of different possibilities, but my suspicion, and I could be wrong, is that Daniel did decide, you know what, I've had enough of this. Fuck this. Bollocks to this. I don't want to do this anymore. And so, yes, you can argue he should have gotten up. He was, after all, getting anywhere between 50 and 70 million quid. After tax and everything, he'll only take home, 29 million or whatever it was. But anyway, perhaps you could say, well, you should have gotten up. You're getting well paid for it. All right. But there are different degrees of quitting, are there not? So, for example, someone may be in a great deal of pain, but they think, I could get up. But you know what? I've only got more pain to come. I'm not going to do it. They might think, well, I'm getting paid. And I've been knocked over a couple of times. I'll stay on the floor, collect my money and go home. Who cares, I'm going to get beaten anyway. I don't really want to do this anymore. I'll quit. Or they might have a genuine injury. A broken eye socket. They might be in that. Or maybe they've broken an arm, a shoulder has been dislocated, something like that. So you have to ask yourself, well, is it the same as being on the floor and saying, I could get up, but I just don't want to do this anymore? And I know where I am. I can beat the count. I can hear the count, but I just don't want to do it anymore. Is that the same as saying, fuck me, my arm's busted. I can barely move my arm. Or I've slipped a disc, I can just about stand. Should I continue fighting? Or I can't even see out of my eye. I think my eye socket's busted. Is it the same thing if someone says, I'm out, in that respect? Is it the same morally, shall we say, ethically, is it the same thing as if someone says, I could get up, but I'm just not interested anymore? I would say that we're talking degrees here. I would say we're talking, I would say we're talking some actions can be definitely justified in quitting. But, and this is the key point, but whether you've got a broken arm, a broken shoulder, or whether you simply sit on your stool and say, I want my money, I'm going home, I could fight on, but I'm not interested. Regardless of which side, which, of that axis you're on, it's still quitting. It's the same thing, essentially. The definition is the same. I've got a broken arm. You remember, for example, one of the famous ones is Danny Williams against Mark Potter. He had a dislocated shoulder. He continued fighting and he knocked Mark Potter out with a left hook. All right, despite having a dislocated shoulder. One of the great, sort of folklore legends of British boxing. Okay, Muhammad Ali refused to quit. Joe Frazier refused to quit. They nearly killed each other. Ali described after the third fight as, that's the closest I've ever come to death. I really thought I was going to die. Essentially, that's what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing. But he carried on. I remember the very, very tough fighter, middleweight from the late 80s, second half of the 80s into the 90s, Doug DeWitt. I remember him taking Tommy Hearns the distance and getting he had a flat nose anyway, but he was getting a shit beaten out of him, punched out of him, and he didn't quit, and he lasted a 12-round distance. He then, later on in his career, it was his final fight, I think, fought James Toney and quit on his stool after 6 rounds. I think it was 6 rounds. He said, I can't do this anymore. Is it a cardinal sin? You can argue that until the cows come home. But again, I repeat, the fact is that whether you are justified or not, whether you can make a moral case for quitting or not, it's still the same thing, quitting. Having the ability to continue, regardless of the consequences, but choosing not to. So I think in that sense, we need to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Reclaim, maybe? The word quit, the word quitter, because there are different degrees of it. It's the same thing, but sometimes there are intangibles, there are extenuating circumstances. Yeah, okay, you can quit. Some people probably their lives have been saved by quitting, because if they continued, they might have ended up with, a serious brain injury or something. They might have died. They might have lost an eye. That's happened. People end up with, they end up losing some of their vision. And they're doing this for our entertainment. Yeah, they're doing it for money. They're doing it for their own personal greatness, their own personal legacy, their own personal inner tumult, or to build themselves up, to build their ego up, their psyche, whatever it is. They're doing it for themselves. But I don't think it's right for us to say, yeah, lose an eye just so I can be entertained. We call boxers modern day gladiators, which I suppose they are in many respects, but do we really want to see, are we that psychopathic that we want to see people in that profession kill themselves or maim themselves just for our entertainment? I personally don't. There have been fights I've been watching where one guy is taking such a pasting, I think the referee should stop this. All right, come on, ref, stop it now. It's getting silly, because some fighters do have to be saved from themselves. Others, they'll quit for no reason, And also, it isn't just about taking a 10 count. To me, William Skull, when he fought Canelo Alvarez, quit from the word go. He wasn't trying to win that fight. He was trying to run around, prod and poke. He wasn't trying to do anything. He quit. That wasn't that was running. I mean, a lot of people think back foot boxing is running, which it most certainly isn't. But that really was running for me. That's just one of the more recent examples I could use. There are of course others. Bone Crusher Smith, if you want to go way back to when he fought Mike Tyson. Bone Crusher Smith was a hard bastard. I mean, he ended up getting stopped in his career a few times towards the last third of it, but he was a right tough bastard with a great jaw, and he could whack hard as well. He spent 12 rounds against Mike Tyson hugging on for dear life. He quit. He wasn't trying to win that fight. Tony Tucker was another one. Grab and hold against Mike Tyson. This was Tyson when Tyson was really Tyson, an absolute destroyer. He grab and hold, grab and hold. Sonny Liston, really tough man, a really tough heavyweight. And I know some people say this was a stitch-up, it was a fixed fight and so on, but the second fight against Ali. All right, how about the first fight against Ali? When he had a damaged shoulder and he quit in a stool. Could he have carried on? Probably. But let's say that the shoulder injury really was serious stuff. It's still the same thing. It's still quitting. Whether it's justified or not, it is quitting. Okay? So we need to acknowledge a strong definition for what this word means and stick to it. And only later say, well, there were extenuating circumstances. Joe Frazier, well, he didn't quit, actually. Eddie Futch pulled him out, but he wanted to go out for the 15th round against Ali in the third fight. And Eddie wouldn't let him. Diego Corrales, when he lost to Floyd Mayweather, I think he was on the floor 5 times. And when his corner man pulled the plug, he went crazy. He was fucking running around the ring, shoving his corner man. What are you doing? Don't throw the tape. He was in tears of rage because the fight had been stopped. Some people are like that. Some people, nah, I'm done. So just a few thoughts on, this has been a bit of a meandering, rambling video, but you know what I mean? I wanted to talk about this word quit. What does it mean to you? How would you define it? I think I've defined it quite well. I'll repeat my personal definition, which is you have the ability to carry on, but you choose not to. Doesn't matter how much it hurts. You have the ability to carry on despite pain, despite not wanting to. It is without question to continue would be the more difficult option, but you're choosing not to. And regardless of whether you are choosing not to for a legitimate or an illegitimate reason, that is my definition of quitting. Give me yours. Tell me what you think about this subject. I'm eager to hear different definitions, different thoughts. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you know, and if you did like the video, hit the like button as well, please. Do all that good stuff, build the channel up. I always appreciate your time. I always appreciate your support. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to reading what you've got to say, and bye for now.